Hello everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Anna, and I'm really glad you've joined me. Today, we are diving into one of the most iconic and thought-provoking novels in modern literature, Animal Farm by George Orwell. This book is much more than a simple story about animals living on a farm. It is a powerful allegory, a deep reflection on political movements, and a sharp commentary on human nature and power. But here's something special about today's episode. We are not just reviewing a book, we are learning English through a book review. In this episode, you will learn two important things at the same time. First, you will gain knowledge and insight from the review of Animal Farm, its themes, messages, and ideas. Second, you will learn practical English usage, including vocabulary, sentence structures, and expressions that you can use in real-life conversations. So this book review is not only about literature, it is also a practical English learning experience. Whether you love books, politics, or want to improve your English in an interesting way, this episode is for you. Let's begin our journey into Animal Farm and learn English together. I'll be your guide today as we unpack the novel, explore its characters, and examine its themes and lessons. By the end of this podcast, I hope you'll not only understand the story better but also appreciate the deeper messages Orwell wove into his narrative. So, let's begin. Before we get into the plot, it's important to understand a little about the author and the context in which Animal Farm was written. George Orwell, whose real name was Eric Arthur Blair, was a British writer and journalist, born in 1903. He's known for his sharp observations about society, politics, and the dynamics of power. Animal Farm was published in 1945, shortly after World War II. This was a time of great political upheaval. The Russian Revolution had occurred a few decades earlier, and the rise of totalitarian regimes in Europe, like Stalin's rule in the Soviet Union and Hitler's regime in Germany, was fresh in the world's memory. Orwell, deeply concerned about the abuse of power, wanted to illustrate how revolutions can go wrong, and how those in power often betray the very ideals they claim to uphold. So, while Animal Farm appears to be a simple story about talking farm animals, it's actually a carefully constructed allegory. The events on Manor Farm are reflections of real historical events, and each character and event carries a deeper meaning. Understanding this context helps us see the novel not just as a story, but as a cautionary tale about human behavior and politics.
Segment 2. Plot Overview. Setting the stage. Now, let's talk about the story itself. Animal Farm begins on Manor Farm, owned by a Mr. Jones. The animals are tired of being overworked, neglected, and mistreated. They are intelligent creatures, and they begin to dream of a society where they can live free from human oppression. A society where all animals are equal and work together for the common good. The story gains momentum when Old Major, an elderly pig, delivers an inspiring speech to all the animals. He tells them about his dream of a farm free from human tyranny. His speech is full of passion and conviction. He emphasizes the ideas of equality, unity, and freedom. Old Major plants the seed for rebellion, and the animals begin to imagine a better world, a world where they are in charge of their own destiny. Soon after, Old Major passes away, but his vision remains alive. Inspired by him, the animals, led by the pigs, plan and execute a rebellion against Mr. Jones. They successfully drive him off the farm and rename it Animal Farm. At this moment, there's hope and optimism. The animals feel proud of their courage and believe that their hard work and unity will lead to a just society. This opening part of the book is exciting because it captures the thrill of revolution, the joy of overthrowing injustice, and the sense of empowerment that comes with taking control of one's own fate. Orwell draws us in by showing how dreams of equality can be shared by everyone, no matter how small or seemingly powerless they might feel. Segment 3. The Pigs and the Rise of Leadership. Now, let's turn our attention to the pigs, who quickly emerge as leaders. Among them, Snowball and Napoleon are the most prominent. Snowball is intelligent, charismatic, and idealistic. He believes in education, progress, and spreading the principles of animalism, the philosophy inspired by old Mija's vision. Napoleon, on the other hand, is cunning, strategic, and ambitious. He desires power and control more than genuine equality. Orwell uses these pigs to illustrate the different types of leaders we see in society. Some lead for the common good, like Snowball. Others, like Napoleon, seek personal gain and manipulate ideals to serve themselves. It's a sharp observation of human nature, how those who seem humble and selfless can be overshadowed by cunning individuals who twist principles for their own advantage. Initially, Snowball and Napoleon seem to work together for the benefit of the animals. They create committees, plan improvements, and try to teach the other animals literacy and the principles of animalism. But it doesn't take long for power struggles to emerge. Napoleon slowly begins to consolidate power, using fear, propaganda, and manipulation to assert control. This is where the novel starts to reveal its deeper political allegory, the betrayal of revolutionary ideals by those in authority. Orwell is meticulous in showing how easy it is for a movement born of equality and hope to be corrupted by ambition, fear, and selfishness. The Pig's Rise mirrors historical events, yet it is relatable to human experiences in general. The story becomes not just about animals, but about all societies and the dynamics of leadership and power. Segment 4. The Commandments and the Shifting Rules. One of the most fascinating aspects of Animal Farm is the set of rules the animals establish after the rebellion. The pigs initially create 7 commandments to guide their new society. These commandments are simple and clear, emphasizing equality and fairness for all animals. The most important principle is that all animals are equal. However, as Napoleon gains power, the commandments begin to change, sometimes subtly, sometimes drastically. For example, no animal shall sleep in a bed eventually becomes, no animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets. This gradual manipulation of rules symbolizes how leaders rewrite laws and morals to suit their own interests. Orwell brilliantly illustrates the danger of blind obedience. When the majority does not question authority, even small changes can lead to the erosion of justice and equality. Watching the commandments change is both chilling and educational. It's a reminder that principles must be protected, and that vigilance is necessary to ensure leaders don't betray the very rules they swear to uphold. The story demonstrates that freedom and equality require continuous effort and awareness, or they can easily be undermined. Segment Lima. Another key element of Orwell's allegory is the use of propaganda. The pig Squealer plays a central role here. He is clever, persuasive, and manipulative. Squealer spreads Napoleon's messages, twists facts, and convinces the other animals that whatever the pigs do is for the common good. Through Squealer, Orwell highlights how language and persuasion can be powerful tools of control. The animals, who are not as educated as the pigs, often accept Squealer's words without questioning them. This creates a society where truth is manipulated and reality is distorted. It's a powerful lesson for readers about the importance of critical thinking and the dangers of blindly following authority. In real life, propaganda is not limited to politics. It exists in advertising, media, and even social circles. Orwell's depiction is exaggerated through the farm, but the underlying message is universal. Societies must value truth, reason, and independent thinking to prevent corruption. Segment 6. The other animals and their roles. Let's not forget the other animals on the farm. Each one represents a type of societal role or human trait. Boxer, the hard-working horse, is perhaps the most memorable. His strength, loyalty, and diligence make him an essential part of the farm's success. Yet, his naivety and blind faith in the pigs lead to tragedy. Boxer's famous mottos, "I will work harder and Napoleon is always right," symbolize the dangers of unquestioning obedience. Then we have Clover, the caring mare, who is loyal but more perceptive than Boxer. She notices changes in the commandments and growing inequality, but struggles to act against it. The sheep represent the easily influenced masses, repeating slogans without understanding them. Benjamin, the donkey, is cynical and intelligent, but passive. His awareness of injustice makes him bitter, yet he rarely intervenes. Orwell's characterization shows that every member of society contributes in different ways, but their awareness, choices, and actions ultimately shape the society's fate. Through these animals, we learn about courage, complacency, loyalty, and skepticism, all traits that exist in real life as well. Segment 7. The shift from idealism to tyranny. As the story progresses, Animal Farm transforms from a hopeful, egalitarian society into a place of oppression and fear. Napoleon becomes increasingly tyrannical, using propaganda, intimidation, and violence to maintain his rule. The pigs enjoy privileges. The commandments are altered to justify their actions, and the other animals struggle under the same burdens they sought to escape. Orwell's message here is clear. Revolutions can be corrupted from within. Those who rise to power may abandon ideals for personal gain. It's a warning about the cyclical nature of history, how oppression can resurface even after it seems to have been defeated. The farm's decline is heartbreaking, especially when we see the animals' hopes crushed. Yet, Orwell doesn't just condemn the leaders, he also critiques the animals themselves, reminding us that vigilance, education, and critical thought are essential to maintaining freedom. So far, we've explored the context, plot, characters, and the early shifts in power dynamics on Animal Farm. Animal Farm is a story about hope, betrayal, and the fragility of ideals. It's more than just a tale of animals. It's a mirror, reflecting human nature, political systems, and societal responsibilities. The decline of Animal Farm. As the story progresses, the farm that once symbolized hope, equality, and freedom begins to deteriorate. The pigs become more authoritarian, enjoying luxuries and privileges while the other animals work harder than ever. They face increasing hardship, yet their morale is manipulated through propaganda, fear, and clever rhetoric. Napoleon consolidates power through intimidation and by using dogs as enforcers. Snowball is driven off the farm, scapegoated for every problem. And even the most intelligent animals are too fearful or too loyal to challenge his authority. The commandments, which once clearly defined fairness and equality, are rewritten to justify the pig's actions. This transformation highlights the central theme of the novel: the corruption of revolutionary ideals when those in power prioritize their own interests. Watching the decline of Animal Farm is both tragic and enlightening. Orwell captures how quickly society can move from hope to oppression if vigilance and critical thinking are abandoned. The animals' suffering is compounded by their own blind trust, showing us that freedom is not given, it must be actively protected. Key tragic events. Several key events underscore the collapse of the farm. Boxer, the loyal and hard-working horse, embodies the tragic consequences of unquestioning obedience. Throughout the story, Boxer works tirelessly, believing Napoleon's promises and slogans. Yet, when he is injured, instead of receiving care, he is sold to the Necca, a cruel fate that symbolizes exploitation and betrayal. This event is heartbreaking, not just for its literal tragedy, but for the message Orwell sends about power dynamics and exploitation. It reminds us that blind loyalty, while noble in intention, can be dangerous when leaders act without accountability. Boxer's fate is a stark warning to readers. Always question authority and protect those who work tirelessly for society's well-being. Another significant moment is the gradual transformation of the pigs into human-like figures. They walk on two legs, carry whips, and engage in trade with human neighbors, the other animals who once dreamed of equality and freedom. Watch helplessly as the pigs become indistinguishable from the oppressive humans they had overthrown. This reversal highlights the cyclical nature of power. Those who rise to power often repeat the very abuses they sought to end. Orwell's use of symbolism. One of the reasons Animal Farm remains so impactful is Orwell's masterful use of symbolism. Every character, event, and object serves as an allegory for real-world politics, human behavior, or societal dynamics. Napoleon represents authoritarian rulers who manipulate ideology for personal gain. Snowball embodies the idealistic revolutionary, focused on progress and education. Boxer is the working-class, loyal, hard-working, but often exploited due to lack of political awareness. The sheep symbolize the unquestioning masses who repeat slogans without understanding them. Squealer, with his persuasive speech and manipulation of facts, represents propaganda and media control. Even the farm itself is symbolic. Manor Farm becomes Animal Farm, reflecting the idealistic vision of revolution. Later, it reverts to its original oppressive state, mirroring the cyclical nature of human history. The transformations, betrayals, and manipulations on the farm serve as a mirror to real societies, demonstrating Orwell's ability to use a simple story to convey complex truths about power, leadership, and human nature. Orwell's writing style. Orwell's writing is deceptively simple. The sentences are clear, the vocabulary is accessible, and the narrative is straightforward. Yet beneath this simplicity lies profound depth. This clarity allows readers of all ages and backgrounds to grasp the story, while the allegorical layers provide endless opportunities for analysis. He uses dialogue effectively, letting characters' words reflect their personalities, beliefs, and motivations. His use of repetition, like the slogans for legs good, 2 legs bad, or Napoleon, is always right, reinforces themes of indoctrination and manipulation. The novel also uses irony masterfully. For example, the animals' increasing suffering contrasts with the pigs' luxurious lives, and the proclaimed equality of animalism gradually erodes, highlighting the bitter truths of society in a way that is easy to understand, yet emotionally impactful. Relevance to today. Despite being published over 75 years ago, Animal Farm remains relevant today. It serves as a warning against totalitarianism, the misuse of power, and the dangers of blind obedience. In every society, there are lessons to be learned about critical thinking, education, and accountability. We live in a world where information is abundant, but it is not always accurate or unbiased. Just like the animals on the farm, people must be vigilant, question authority, and think critically. Animal Farm encourages readers to look beyond slogans, propaganda, and surface appearances, and to understand the deeper truths about power, justice, and morality. It's also a reminder that ideals, no matter how noble, require constant effort to uphold. Revolutions can fail, governments can become corrupt, and societies can become oppressive. But through awareness, education, and collective responsibility, we can strive to prevent these outcomes. Orwell's novel is timeless in its ability to challenge readers to reflect on their own roles within society. Final thoughts and takeaways. So, what can we take away from Animal Farm? First, it teaches us that freedom and equality are not guaranteed. They must be protected through vigilance and awareness. Second, it warns us about the corrupting influence of power and the importance of holding leaders accountable. Third, it highlights the role of education and critical thinking in resisting manipulation. The story also evokes empathy for those who are exploited or marginalized, reminding us to value compassion, justice, and fairness. Through memorable characters like Boxer, Snowball, and Napoleon, Orwell creates a narrative that is both emotionally engaging and intellectually stimulating. Finally, Animal Farm reminds us of the complexity of human nature. People, like animals in the story, are capable of both incredible idealism and disturbing selfishness. Understanding these dynamics helps us navigate our own societies and make better decisions as citizens, leaders, and human beings. Thank you for joining me today as we explored George Orwell's Animal Farm. It's a story that is simple on the surface, but profound in its insights. By examining the rise and fall of Animal Farm, the corruption of ideals, and the consequences of blind obedience, we gain a better understanding of history, politics, and human behavior. I hope this discussion encourages you to read or reread the novel, reflect on its lessons, and consider how its themes apply in your own life. Remember, literature like this is not just about entertainment. It's about learning, questioning, and growing. If you enjoyed this podcast, Please consider subscribing and sharing it with friends who might also be interested in literature, history, and the lessons we can learn from great stories. Until next time, keep reading, keep questioning, and always stay curious.